Hello, so my name is Sojourner Zenobia, and my pronouns are they, them. I have tried to record this video a number of times, and there's just so much inside of every single little part of my lineage. I can't. We're going to have to do like a podcast episode or something to expound on this. So I'm just going to keep it really brief and kind of do this in a way that is more of a list. So I will start out by saying that I'm a performer, and that spirituality came to me through the practice of performance. The very first moment that I experienced spirituality as a performer was when I was in acting school and I was studying Tadashi Suzuki theater technique. It's a lot of stomping into the earth, and all of that emphasis on the earth and my connection to the earth and your weight on the earth is just a through line in everything that I teach. I think that almost literally pounded into me this knowing, this visceral sense of the earth. I mean, the earth is my witness. That's what the Buddha said the moment he reached enlightenment. I think that the Buddha was non-binary, but anyway, so that I would say was my first experience of performance or acting being a spiritual thing. Then I went to Naropa University, where I studied with so many different teachers that influenced my connection to body and the somatic element of the earth, of spirituality and just being a human being. Number one, Pearl Ubungan. She politicized me. She had me reading all the people: Grace Lee Boggs, Bell Hooks, Audre Lorde. I also learned about Buddhism there, the Shambhala lineage of Buddhism through Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. So that's also where I became a Buddhist. So the element that Pearl really gave me is how to be a weaver, and how all of these elements of the earth, of spirit, of presence, of being politically aware. You cannot perform in a vacuum, of listening to people's stories, of weaving people's stories into embodiments. I mean, the list of things that she implanted in me is, I'm telling you, each phase of my life needs a podcast episode. So Pearl, and also Shambhala Buddhism. So I became a Buddhist through Shambhala Buddhism, which is super controversial right now, considering the fall of the lineage holder. You can Google that. But I was never really a part of the in-depth community of Shambhala, but Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche, the starter of Shambhala Buddhism, and his books really gave me a deep connection to Buddhism. And then I really understood that Shambhala Buddhism is the foundation of it is Tibetan Buddhism, which is really, really influenced by shamanism and the energy of the arts and creativity, and spirit. So there was a lot of room to be a performer and an artist inside of Shambhala Buddhism because of its Tibetan roots, basically. Also at Naropa, Barbara Dilley in contemplative dance practice. Oh my gosh, that freed me. Contemplative dance practice is a movement practice where you start in stillness and meditation and you move into open space and allow your body to experience and unfold in kinesthetic delight, a term coined by Barbara Dilley. I can't even tell you what that practice has done for me. Freed my body, allowed me to open up my experience of movement. A big reason why I know that wisdom comes up through the body, that the body is a magic vessel and portal for spirit. Pearl taught me a lot about that too. Also, anything else about Naropa? Naropa was a big moment for me. So I graduated from Naropa, and about a few years later, I became a Buddhist. So went to a Buddhist monastery for about 3 months and had a beautiful deepening of experience in my practice, which really was about understanding and knowing that place of stillness inside of me was always going to be there. Even if I get off of my practice for a while, it's that experience in my life implanted a deep seed of knowing that I will always return to stillness. I will always return to that connection. And again, that my relationship to Buddhism really, it feels like it's directly connected to that Buddha, and the Buddha touched the earth at the moment of their enlightenment and said, "The earth is my witness." There's something about that is just like the core of the reason why I was drawn to Buddhism. After Naropa, I started performing around Chicago, performing, and my performance became prophetic in a lot of ways. That is a whole nother world of stories. And I started to say, like, I need to understand what's going on. Like, there's something being transmitted through me through these performances. And so then I studied with Joan Forrest Mage, who has Life Force Art Center here in Chicago. That's where I learned to directly connect with ancestors beyond what I had learned from Pearl, and a bunch of other teachers that I experienced at Naropa. We connected with the earth in a direct way. We had nature walks right in the middle of downtown Chicago. I felt like I had walked in the forest all day. It was just this beautiful experience of connecting with my body, my ancestors, and with the earth. And what's beautiful about Joan is she's also a performer, and she also became a spiritual practitioner through her dance and her movement and her voice. So that's why I really connected with her. So learned how to really, that performance is a channel for spirit. Also, this is the very first, really the first in-depth dive that I got into learning about facilitation, holding space, because Joan would be like, go forth and teach about the guide that you have. You know, what is the wisdom coming through you? Make a workshop, teach it. And so she really pushed me into this space of, like, you have the answers, you know. And the way that she facilitated really most things is any question that you had, she'd be like, what do your guides say? So that is like a huge foundation for how I hold spaces. I often just ask you to ask yourself, ask your guides, ask your body, ask the earth. You develop your relationship, your own relationship with spirit. You could ask me all day. I don't have your body. I don't have your guides. I don't have your experience of life. I don't taste what you taste. I don't even see what you see. So that is a big reason, I think, why my spaces are not about me showing up and just like teaching what I know. They're really reflective spaces that have a lot to do with me holding a space for you to find your own answers. And that's why I love facilitating, because people come up and they're just like, I realized this and I realized that and I got this message from my ancestors, and all I have to do is hold the space to say, trust that, go forth with that. And that actually is the hardest part, is to be doing this work and to trust that it's something that's just as valuable as your math teacher telling you 2 + 2 is 4. So that was kind of a tangent. Joan taught me so many beautiful things. And then I took a class in Paris with the Roy Hart Institute and really opened up my voice. I was introduced to Roy Hart in Naropa. But then I went and I trained there for a few months, and that was like a whole nother training that helped me to open up the way that I hear. I don't really know what more to say about that besides Roy Hart helps me to listen in between things. It's a space where you get to activate your voice in ways that are not beautiful. And that is something that I often bring to my classes of like, if you need to make a weird sound, make the sound of whatever it is your body is sharing with you so you can externalize it. And also that our voices are the most expressive instrument that we have. Our bodies are super expressive. I believe our voices are even more expressive. So, voice, and then I think, what's the last thing I want to share? I did circle training with Circles and Ciphers here in Chicago, and also Kay Prowdis, who came and taught a workshop. So that's why I do a lot of facilitation in circle these days. Also was a gateway for me to learn mediation forms, restorative justice forms. The last thing I'm going to end up on, which through all of that, this was like an abbreviated version, y'all. There's so many different things and layers and twists and turns, but I think it encompasses the most of what makes me up. Is that I studied with Tracy Stanley and Shanti Perez, Yoga Nidra. That's my latest training, and that training is a profound teaching in the in-between space. Again, it's not any different from these other spaces, except I feel like it's more accessible because everyone's like, yeah, I'll lay down. But there's a similar through line of this space of receptivity that comes when you let go of your attachments to your identity and all of the layers of identity that we that we hold on to. Yoga Nidra is a place where you lay down, you create the most beautiful rest nest for yourself, and you release into an in-between place where spirit is ushered in to guide you and speak to you, and you listen and you trust. And it is also a really healing space to relax the body and allow the cells to rejuvenate. It's just a gorgeous way to love ourselves and to gain wisdom. The Yoga Nidra is my last training. Those trainings with Tracy and Shanti are beautiful because they really they've woven in all of my performance training with this deep practice and Buddhist trainings with this deep practice of just laying down and rest. So that is where I land right now. That's where I've ended up. And if you have any questions, please email me. Let me know. Like I said, there's so much. There's so many people that have influenced me, but that is just a brief introduction to what has brought me to this place. So, if that inspires you at all, please pop in and join in where you can get in to Winter Cave, to rest rituals in the future, to any retreats that are happening in the future, and I hope to see you soon.